but the cost of inaction is $500,000. What is the cost of not acting on this? What will happen if I don't do X, Y, and Z? Now, what do these all have in common? These are all wonderful shifts in perspective, because the biggest thing in looking back at the time, I was just living in it, so I knew no different. I knew no better. Was they're just perspective changes. Make an assessment of your efforts thus far, and always consider, what is the cost of inaction.
What the hell's going on out here?
All right, everybody, what is up? As always, Dr. Taylor, James Taylor, me, this guy. Welcome back to another episode of Fueled by Spite. This is the epitome of something, if you've been playing along, you've heard me say a whole bunch of times. Everything is stolen, nothing is original. This episode in its entirety has been stolen. But it's been stolen. I am Robin Hood. That was unintentional. This is going to be unintentional. Steal from the rich, give to the poor. I'm not saying you're poor. I'm not saying I'm stealing, even though I just said everything's stolen. This episode is called Halftime Adjustments, because it is halftime. July is in now, probably when this is being dropped. It's first week in July. Ooh, it's 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Bang, bang, pow, pow. Come back with all your fingers. Halftime adjustments. Where are you? Where are you personally? Where are you professionally? Where are you spiritually? Where are you? Where are you at? Where are you listening from? Tune in, time in, check in. So what is this? Every major sports team makes adjustments, right? And when do they make adjustments? They make adjustments at halftime. Baseball players make them every inning. Ideally, the starter can get into the 5th. So a little beyond halftime. Hockey players, they get 2 intermissions. But generally speaking, halftime's where we make tweaks, where we make changes. This is the halfway point of the year. Where do you need to tweak? What do you need to change? So basically what we're going to do, we're going to take the play from the first half of the year. What have you done? Where are you sitting? What's life like right now? Is it what you want it to be? And we're going to make changes. We're going to make tweaks to it. You need to check in on your year goals. So December 31st, January 1st, we set goals for the year, right? Myself, personally, my habit, my routine is I do it the Friday after Thanksgiving. I come into the office here and I set my goals for the coming year. I deep clean the office. I go through all my stuff. I throw the stuff that I don't need, don't want, don't use anymore. Clean out all my file cabinets, all those things. I do that the Friday after Thanksgiving, bright and fucking early. I'm in here at 4 a.m. Traffic sucks because all the rest of y'all are out Black Friday shopping. But I come to the office 4 or 5 a.m. Friday after Thanksgiving on Black Friday, and I get the upcoming year set up, squared away. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? What are we going to achieve? Grand majority of us, we do it December 31st, January 1st. Some of you kind of hem and haw through January. But, okay, regardless of when you do it, man, I hope you set out the year ahead of you and you're not just taking it as it comes on the chin, if you will. That being said, I started doing something. I don't know if I said where this is stolen from. This is stolen from Shawn Dill and Lacey Book, Black Diamond Club. This is one of their perennial routine check-ins, checkups, the halftime adjustments. I had never encountered it prior to joining Black Diamond and working with them, and it is a fantastic idea because any coach, consultant, or mentor that you have, they'll have you set goals at the start of the year, and then you just plug away at it, and that gets debilitating sometimes. So, halftime adjustments, we're checking in, making adjustments, check on the goals that you set at the beginning of the year, but what they recommend is to do what they call trailing numbers. So, yeah, it's half point in the year, but we're not looking at where we are in the year solely. Where have you been in the last 12 months? Where were you between not just now and January 1, but now and July 1 of last year? Which is a novel concept because it was, as I personally, as a chiropractor, became more successful, I definitely started to dread January 1st. Maybe not dread, but I'd come into the office January 1, and like I said, my goals and everything were all set. And it's like, all right, let's climb this mountain again. And that was daunting. It really was. I mean, when you're making millions of dollars a year, and then you have to start from zero and work your way back up to $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.5 million. Man, January 1, that hill is steep. But if you look at the last 12 months and, hey, what have I done in the last 12 months? Am I still at $1 million? Am I still at 1.2? Am I on pace for 1.5 in the last 12 months? That definitely changes the perspective on the whole thing. And it makes it a lot more palatable. So your goals, if your goals have numbers attached to them, not just where were they on January, where are they now compared to Jan 1, but where are they now compared to July 1 of 23? That can give you a whole lot of perspective. And heck, if you've had a rough start to the year, but you killed it last year, and for all intents and purposes, right now, your 12 months right now are the same 12 months as they were months 1 through 12 of 23, then you're sitting kind of pretty. So it allows you to look at trends. It looks at the last 365 days as opposed to the last just 6 months. Heck, it might just look at the last 12 months, depending on how your goals are set up, if they're monthly or something like that. So in so doing, reassess where your goals are at. Are they where they need to be? Are you on track? But also the other complementary goals. Like, are you still living on purpose? Are you still living with purpose? Do you still have the vim and vigor on July 4th here as this drops that you did on Jan 1? If you do, great. If you don't, why? Where do your non-negotiables sit? Have you done a kick-ass job at your goals? And you've got non-negotiables that have really just, initially they were goals, now they're habits. That's fantastic. Or did you have non-negotiables that you put out on Jan 1 or even Feb 1? I don't know why I keep shortening these months, but that haven't become habit, that you haven't stuck to. If we're going to stay with the stereotypical one, have you lost the weight? Have you hit the workouts? Are these non-negotiables still non-negotiable? So here are their 6 steps on how to make halftime adjustments. Number 1, assess your goals. Are you close to where you should be? Or are you way off? Do you need to change some goals? Do you need to get rid of some goals? Where where do you sit? Were your goals on January 1st, as a normal person would say, as opposed to Jan 1? Are you on track for your goals, or were your goals more just a pie in the sky kind of dream thing? Did you make your goals based off of feeling, or did you make your goals based off facts? Did you make them based off of data? Number 2, think about what we're doing, okay? What is this here? In December, we think of the dream, right? So we're going to think about what we're doing now. We're halfway through. Because in December and January, we're thinking of the dream. Were you basing your goals on dreams, or are you basing your goals on stats and data? Okay. If you're, this is with a business bent, this whole thing, more or less. Did you look at your goals where you were before? This is a wonderful example. The previous coach I had, we would set goals start of the year. And what we would, in looking back with this new information that I now have, in looking back, it was wonderfully arbitrary, the numbers that we would pick and that he would encourage us to pick. Last year, I did 500,000. So this year, I'm going to do 650. Why? Well, because 650 seems like a good number. But what do you mean seems like? Seems like a good number, or is it a good number? Look at the trends. Look at what you have done in the past. Don't set your goals based on, dreams and feel good stuff. What's a fun number to hit? What are you able to hit? So in December, we think of the dream. Now it's time to start thinking about what we're actually able to do. That being said, number 3, do you need to adjust some goals down? Was that dream too big? So in my first 8 years of practice, I never reached my goal on December 31st. Not once, not a single time did I reach a goal on December 31st. I always fell short. Now, July would be hanging around, and I'd be like, man, I'm going to be close. Never did it. But why did I never do it? Because I never set a goal based on a trend. I never set a goal based on facts and data. I had a coach that said, what'd you do last year? I did this. What do you want to do next year? A little more than that. You go, good, that sounds like a good number. Based on nothing. So, where are you at right now compared to Jan 1? Do you need to adjust it down? Adjusting it down is fine because basically, did you set your goal knowing the pace that was required to reach it? You didn't. If you set it based on dreams and happy thoughts and feelings, then you didn't. You didn't set it with knowledge of what it would take to actually get there, right? And again, what do you do on January 1? You start at 0 again if you're doing it that way. So basically what we need to do is we need to check our goals. We need to see, do we need to adjust any down? And that's not a failure. That's not a bad thing. It allows us the opportunity to know the work that it takes, right? To know the pace that's required. So adjust it down if necessary, but it also allows you to not give up. Number 4, do you need to adjust anything up? Do you think kind of less than ideal about yourself or your ability or the path that lay ahead of you? Did you set goals that you are beyond halfway through? There's what are called stretch goals, things that might be just, man, it's right there. It's going to take a little chutzpah, but I can do it. And now here we are halfway through the year and you're 3/4 of the way there because you underestimated yourself. Do we need to adjust some goals up? You can absolutely sell yourself short and kind of over goal. But on the flip side of me never reaching my goals is the person who always reaches their goals. I did it again. Look at me. I set out to do something and I crushed it. I crushed it by September, just like I did last year and the year before and the year before. Are you stretching yourself? Are you pushing yourself to reach these goals? I mean, growth is growth. Absolutely. I'll take any bit of growth all day long. Forward is forward regardless of pace. But if you keep winning the race, you're not necessarily pushing yourself. Maybe not as hard as you could. If you keep reaching your goals, maybe that just means you're lazy. Do you need to remove a goal? Are you the same person right now that you were on January 1st? Do you have the same interests, the same desires, the same things that you wanted to do then? Do you still want to do them now? Do you have if you're halfway through the year and there's a couple of goals that you haven't come close to, haven't touched, haven't thought about, are they on your list now just as something to look at and be like, well, there's another thing I got to do? If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Do you still have the passion for it? Or flip side of that, did you complete it? Did you reach that goal already? Has that goal, this is not so much on the last step, but the one prior, has that goal become a habit? If your goal was to make the gym 3 days a week and you're 3 for 3 for 52 divided by 2 is 26 for 26 weeks out of the year. Cool. That's a habit. That goal is set. Take it off. Do you need to add a new goal? Last year, if we've got goals that aren't necessarily being reached, that aren't necessarily working well, that are a bit of a detriment, we talked about removing them. Flip side of that, what are you doing well? Halfway through the year, is there anything that you're doing well or even just absolutely killing? So we talk about taking the things that aren't working right and tweaking them and bending them to make them work better. What about this? What if you take the things that are absolutely on fire and you double down on those things? If you're 3 for 3 on your workouts for 26 weeks so far, what about going 4 for 4 for the rest of the year? What about doubling down on that workout? If your marketing is absolutely killing it from let's say a Facebook standpoint, but your networking hours are slim to none. Like you might have a situation kind of like we have in the office here where we see a certain volume of patients that for all intents and purposes, for lack of a better word, I'm like trapped in my office. Like I can't necessarily get out a whole bunch. So in the past, when I was just starting and I would make 5 networking meetings a week, right now that would be a ludicrous goal. Luda. That would be absurd because I don't have the time to do that. So why would I get down on myself if I'm not making these networking meetings? But if my Facebook stuff is killing it, why not just double down on the stuff that's working well? I touched on this on previous episodes. One of the things that blew my mind, my wife Tamika shared it with me a while ago, and it's something that's kind of fueled her. Anyone who tells you to work on your weaknesses is only trying to hold you down. And sometimes that someone can be yourself. So look at the stuff that you're doing well, double down on those things. What needs to be assessed? What can I double down on? Or what's missing to make these improvements? Are there things that are literally kind of that stretch goal that are kind of just out of your reach? You know what, man, if I had, let's say if I just had a better table to adjust patients on, one that went up and down just a little bit faster, saves me 3 seconds a patient, 3 seconds, let's say 5 seconds of patients up and down. And let's say that's 20 patients a shift. Why not? For easy math. There's 100 seconds. There's a couple minutes. You add that up over a couple days, weeks, months. It can save me a couple hours time just by getting a different table. What can I improve upon? What's missing to make the improvement? Also, is it money? Do I need more money? Well, I need more money, but if we're looking for a business standpoint, do I need more capital? Where can I get it? Is there a loan that I should take out? Do I need more people? Am I hanging around the right people? Am I the richest person in the room or the poorest in the room? I want to be in the room where I'm the poorest. Am I the smartest in the room or am I the dumbest in the room? I want to be in the room. I'm maybe not the dumbest, but I want to be low at the bottom, near the bottom. So what needs to be improved upon? Is it money? Is it people? Is it coaching? Is it staff? Is it associates? Lastly, in looking at what's missing, because some of us there'll be that that stagnation, that fear of pulling the trigger. And that's fine. We can be scared. What? We can be scared to pull the trigger. But if we don't pull it, what is the cost of inaction? If you've got a goal or let's say you've got a thing, let's say your goal is $1 million, right? In whatever service you provide or good or widget that you sell, your goal is $1 million and you're making 500,000 and you know what you need to do. You need the thing you need to get, the person you need to hire to get you to that $1 million. And let's say that person is $250,000. Okay. So you spend $250 to make 500. But if you save the $250, it's in your pocket. That's cool. But the cost of inaction is $500,000. What is the cost of not acting on this? What will happen if I don't do X, Y, and Z? Now, what do these all have in common? These are all wonderful shifts in perspective, because the biggest thing in looking back at the time, I was just living in it. So I knew no different. I knew no better. Was they're just perspective changes. Where did your numbers come from? It came from a place that made me feel happy. Okay, sweet. But can you do it? Well, I don't know, but it makes me feel good to think I can. Well, what if you don't do this thing? Well, I don't know. Well, what is the cost of inaction? Well, this thing isn't working. Okay, well, what should you do? I want to make it work better. Why would you do that when instead of looking at the thing that isn't working, look at the thing that's working really well and just double down on that thing, do more of that thing? Oh, interesting. So these are the halftime adjustments that we should make. We should make them in our business life, in our personal life, in our relationship life, in our physical life, in our spiritual life. Previous coach, he worked on love, health, career, and money. Those were the 4 pillars. He said it was his own thing. It wasn't. It's definitely a Bob Proctor thing. But regardless, he stole it. Just like I stole this. Everything is stolen. So let's review. What are the things you need to look at for your halftime adjustments halfway through this year of our Lord, 2024? 6 steps. Assess your goals. Are you close? Are you way off? Do you need to change or get rid of any? Number 2, think about doing. Are you the person now that you were on December 1? And if you guys want help with this, dude, slide into my DMs. Absolutely. I will be more than happy to set up a time to chat with you about the goals that you have. I would love the opportunity to do that. So think about what you're doing. Number 3, do you need to adjust any of these goals down? Number 4, do you need to adjust any of these goals up? Did you sell yourself short with your abilities? Number 5, do you need to remove a goal? Because again, if you're not the same person now that you were on January 1, and that goal is really just something on your list that's not getting done, but you just look at it as something that's not getting done, now just get rid of it. You don't have to do everything you set out to do. Number 6, what's working? Double down on that thing. Make an assessment of your efforts thus far. And always consider, what is the cost of inaction? So once again, I hope this helped you out a bunch on this halftime point, this halfway point of 2024. Before we went through all this hell, before I was able to listen to these two wonderfully brilliant, magnificent people, Shawn Dill and Lacey Book, I fell into one of two camps. I was either ignorant or I was uninformed. And heck, you can even look at my little outline here. I can at least now say that I am no longer uninformed, because you will learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design. And sometimes that accident is theft, as is taxation. How about that debate? Hope you guys have an awesome second half of your year. We have got some great interviews lined up with some fantastic local people around here doing some really awesome, really niche work. I want to make a little foray into some of the other stuff we've got going on around here too. Make sure you are following the list here in Northeast Tarrant County. We give away stuff every single week. I go around and I find restaurants, businesses, clubs, meetings, and beyond that are doing great things around here. And we get $100 worth of stuff from them, and we just give it away, and we do it every single week. Look at the list on our office page. Also, had a real cool experience yesterday with Dr. Taylor sent me. If you're unfamiliar, every Friday, a girl's got to eat. You know what I mean? So I go out, grab a bite to eat at lunch. And what I do is I go to different restaurants in the area, and I get lunch. Novel concept, right? But also, I go up to the cashier, I go up to the counter, I go up to the till or the cash register, and I tell the person, hey, here's $100, and I want you to hang on to it. If somebody comes in and says, Dr. Taylor sent me, use that $100 toward their tab. But if nobody comes in, you put it in your pocket. And I put this out on Instagram, on our office Aspire Chiropractic page. Follow that every Friday if you're in the area. Keep tabs on it. See where Dr. Taylor sent you. Go grab a bite to eat on me. And if you don't worry. The server will get a nice little Finsky on their way home. So, Dr. Taylor sent me the list. Aspire Chiropractic, fueled by spite. Accidental theft abounds for the betterment of anybody and everybody that takes this in. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next one.